Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. If you've seen my recent videos, I've been doing a lot of pull videos lately, and I've sort of gotten pretty lucky and gotten a bunch of the limited units that are out right now, and it sort of made me feel a little bit guilty that we're sort of in a time where there's a vis crunch and there's so many limited units to pull on that it's very hard for a lot of players. So I kind of feel like I'm fueling the hype train in making people want to pull and spend and whatnot. I know it's mostly Gumi's fault, but I feel like I'm sort of adding to it. So I kind of wanted to show you guys how, even though I have pulled a lot of these units, I don't really have a lot of them like fully built up or anything like that. My goal is just to get, certain units and sort of just work on them slowly. And I've been slow building a lot, but I've been pretty decently effective with slow building, and I still have my units at decent levels. So I kind of just wanted to go over my units and then sort of go over how I sort of accomplished, leveling them up. So these are essentially the units I'm going to try to cover. I've already recorded this video once and it went for like 45 minutes, so I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter. These are basically collab units and stuff like that. So right away, let's just start with the most recent collab, which is Elena, Dwayne, and Fryevia. So as you can see, I still have them at pretty low levels, 50, 30, and 30. I'm working on Elena the most right now. I've been doing her daily purchases, so that's this here, just to try to, get as many shards as possible. My focus is on Elena right now because, the bingo board and all that stuff, and I definitely want to get her sword before the event is over. The other two, Dwayne and Fryevia, not really going to focus too much on them because I know they're going to come back and I don't really need them right away per se. I am not a competitive player. I do like to compete in the arena, but I'm not really like a high-level competitive player. So let me just kind of go into the shards real quick so you can see. Elena, all I have her is on LB2. So far I've only really done her guild summons and the daily purchases and the free login shards that we get. Dwayne, so for Dwayne, I did do his 9-step last time, so that contributes to a lot of what I have here. I think that's at least 200. I did his guild summons. And there was an event where you can buy like 40 of his shards from the Mog shop. I'm not entirely sure how I got to 492, but it was a lot of that. I don't think I really spent any viz directly buying his shards. Okay, so Fryevia, similar thing. I've used the guild summons. I didn't do her 9-step. And there was an event where you can convert her for Mog shop. So I'm not exactly sure how I got to 219. I would say that was probably like 1 something shards, then probably from like the login bonuses and stuff like that. Okay, so that's like that collab. Charlotte. So for Charlotte, I actually ended up buying a bunch of her shards on the daily purchase and on the daily 5 shard 60 viz purchases, 60 paid viz purchases. So I have a ton of shards for her. I also got pretty lucky and I think I did a 10 UR shard pull, and I probably pulled her like 2 or 3 times, so that really helped me build her. I recently just pulled her from another 10 UR unit pull, so that's kind of why I have her here now. So for Lara Croft, I have not spent any viz on her, aside from I think 15 paid viz in the 15 paid viz shard, the 1.5 anniversary shard. I did her daily purchases, so that I'm talking about this thing here. And then I also did star shards on her. And I think that's what I've done so far, and her bingo board, and her guild summon. So a lot of the free stuff so far. I'm very close to the 200 mark. I'm waiting on those free social media campaign shards whenever those hit, so that will be good. So the next units are the Final Fantasy VII units. So basically, like I mentioned in one of my other videos, I focused on Barrett because I wanted to make videos about him, and so I actually did spend viz on buying shards. I think I bought like 2 packs, 40 shard packs from him. One of them was with paid viz because I needed the UR vision spheres, the the circular spheres that you need to level to awaken him. But again, I used the star shards. I used Mog metals a lot to get his Mindspheres, paid guild summons, and etc. All the free stuff. And then I used I bought like 2 of his 40 bundle shards packs. So that's how I built up Barret. And so in contrast, Aerith, I haven't used a single viz on Aerith. I've been doing, oh, one other thing I forgot to mention is Chocobo and Barracks. So same thing with Lara Croft. Elena, I do have her in the Barracks, but not Chocobos. So I've been doing Final Fantasy VII Chocobo expeditions a lot. That's actually contributed to a lot of shards, and in turn, that sort of translates into Mindspheres. But if you look at Aerith here, she's not even at LB5 yet. She's getting there, but she's kind of the one that I haven't spent anything on, basically, aside from the guild polls and, the Chocobo and Barracks. For Cloud, almost the same thing as Aerith, but I did do the daily polls for the daily purchase for him. So that's this again. I did that for him. So that's why he's a little bit ahead of Aerith, and I kind of just finished him recently. For Tifa, I did not do I haven't spent any viz on her. Basically, it's been the Mindsphere shop, the guild summons, basically the same stuff. I did focus on her for Mindspheres, so that's why she's at the 115 level. But once I was able to finish Barret has been contributing to the Mindspheres a lot. And then, those 2 40 packs that I bought for Barret helped him get there faster, so he was able to get the Mindspheres faster for Tifa. Alright, so that's Final Fantasy VII. I wanted to cover Lemore and Corwell. Basically, what I wanted to say for them is, for Lemore, I did do the daily 60 paid viz for 5 shard purchases. I still haven't finished her, surprisingly, but I haven't spent any free viz on her. I've just been slow building her and doing the guild summons. So what I wanted to say with her and Corwell is that I didn't do the guild summons for Corwell, and I didn't do any daily purchases, so he's much lower. And I sort of regret not doing the guild summons, because I feel like those are definitely worth it to do every single one possible, as long as you're farming the guild chambers and as long as you're setting your token shop to be, the item sell price up as much as you can, and then sell your rainbow guild snappers for those. So I think that's a good way to keep up with the guild summons. So that's something that I've been doing pretty much for every banner. There are some that I missed, but I've been doing it for the most part. All right, so the summer units. I did do the daily, so again, I'm sorry for doing this, the daily purchase. I did do those for Lilith. So you had the choice between 5 shards daily between Lilith and Kitone. So I picked Lilith every single time, and then I filled it all the way up, so that gave you like extra Kitone shards as well. And I did that, and then I also did the 60 paid viz purchases for 5 shards every day. Those were super helpful because the summer event was very long. I did that for Lilith and for Kitone. And then once I got her to 99, I ended up using the Mindsphere shop. My summer Mindspheres are at the 10 mark, so it costs 10 per to buy them. And I basically did that with Lilith. I did Chocobos for her, and I put her in the Barracks. And I basically built her to 120 without spending any free viz. I did spend paid viz though. Okay, so moving on. Salir, you guys saw I did the 9-step for her. And then I think I bought some bundles of shards. So she's obviously already maxed to 99. She's at 115 now. I think I did the, maybe bought like 1 or 2 40 for 2,000 viz bundles. So I really wanted her, so I invested into her. And I also did the 6K paid step, and I did not get her. And I actually I probably did like 3 10 UR pulls before I finally got her. So I kind of did invest a lot to kind of get her, but not really, because I just do the 10 UR pulls just to do them and get Mog medals and star shards. So I guess I just pulled her along the way for that. Essentially, Zazan, I kind of just pulled him. I did the Dwayne 9-step last time, and I pulled him. So I did end up spending for one of those 40 shard bundles, I think, and just to finish his bingo board. So the bingo board really helped with getting him to LB4, and then I've had him in the barracks. So for Warrior of Light, I actually, like, once I pulled him, I did not spend any Vizier for him. His Chocobo expeditions were super generous, and I think because of that, I had him in barracks and I did the Ghost Summons. I don't remember if I did the Star Shards, but I probably did. And then the Mindsphere shop to get his Mindspheres before his event ended. So I was able to get him to 200 Mindspheres absolutely for free before the event ended. But his Chocobo shards were super generous compared to everything else, so it was a lot easier for him. And I haven't really used him in his EX levels at all, so he's kind of just struggling. So 9S, I kind of messed up on 9S, and I ended up paying for his shards, basically. I bought the metal bundle. I think it was like $40-something. I think that was worth 200, and I invested it all into him. Because I didn't pull for 2B. So he's at 99, and I sort of feel ashamed for having done that purchase. So I just haven't been able to bring myself to get him to EX levels. So I basically spent that money for nothing. Hopefully I will do that in the future and get over my shame. Let me go to Ramada because she was more recent. I already had her from before. And so I basically did her Mindsphere shop. I did a little bit, I didn't really go that far. And I got her to 107, and she's been in the barracks, and she's pretty close to the 115 mark. So I think I'm gonna be good with that and just leave her at that until Christmas reruns again. So for Final Fantasy X, I did Titus all the way. I don't remember how I did him, but I recently just finished Yuna to 120, and you can see that she's at 117 because I just recently did that. In Auron, he's at 99, but I think I'm sitting at about 100 or 200 Mindspheres, so I can use that for him. I think it's 100 actually, because I spent 100 of those on Yuna, and so he's sitting at 99. I'm probably not gonna get him to 120 at any time soon, so he's just sitting there. So I hope that kind of gives you an overview of where my units are at in terms of like everything that I pulled. I am okay with keeping them at even 99. Like Kitone at 99 was doing pretty good, so I'm kind of okay with that. But 115 is generally where I want to get them and be really happy. But 99, I'm pretty decently happy, especially with units I wasn't really chasing, like Kitone and Aerith. Alright, so I think that gives you an overview. So let me go into the Star Shards and sort of talk through how I did that. And we're going to sort of use Aerith as an example for Final Fantasy VII. So as you can see here, Aerith is at the 10 Star Shard per Mindsphere point, or per Shard point. So I pretty much did that for every single Final Fantasy VII unit. I brought them up, so I basically bought those initial 100 shards, and I brought them up to the 10 mark. As you see, Aerith is at here. I think anything beyond that is just way too many Star Shards to be using, and it's probably better to just get them into EX levels and then just use the Mindsphere shop. I think that's a slightly better option. And so the same thing here for Lara Croft. I got her to the point where it costs 10 per, and I basically just did that, and that's gotten me pretty close to level 99. I'm still waiting on those social media shards. So the idea is the same here for the FFBE units. Basically, I already did Elena because I'm focusing on her so I could finish her bingo board. But it's sort of the same thing. I'll probably invest it into Dwayne more so, and then maybe Zazan, and then Fryavia. Or maybe Fryavia first. I don't really know. I'm not really that invested into Zazan or Fryavia, so I'm just going to really slow build them. Even Dwayne, I'm probably going to wait until the next time he comes around to sort of get him into EX jobs levels. But I will probably try to get him to 10 per by the end of this event. And oh, actually, that's how I got some of his shards, was getting him to the 4 per mark. I think that's really all I have to say here, but I think utilizing the star shards as much as you can is basically a very good idea, very good way to save viz, because if you're getting 100 shards per unit here, you got to think about it this way. It's 2,000 to buy 40 of the shards in their shop. So if you are getting 100 shards, that's 2.5 of those. So that's basically 5,000 viz that you're saving by making sure that you invest here into the star shards. Okay, so next up is the Mog metals. And so you go here to the soul metals here, and then you press normal, and that turns into Mindsphere. So just so you can see, I've been using the winter metals, but I haven't gotten it all the way to the 10 point. The Final Fantasy VII ones, I got instantly to the 10 point for Barret so that I can max them out as soon as possible. And you can really see here, I haven't really been using it for anyone else. So Lear is one that I sort of got up pretty quickly, but I haven't really even used it for her. But and then the other thing to mention is once I get Laura and Elena to 99, I will definitely come here and get their Mindspheres. I already have a bunch of those saved up, so that's the way I'm gonna do that. So then I think you guys get the idea, but if you think about it here, this is saving you. So getting shards here through the Mindsphere shop instead of buying the shards is potentially saving you a lot of viz per shard that you're buying this way. So we're gonna get into it a little more. Let's go into the summon. I kind of just want to show basically the 10 UR pulls, those type of banners. So this one is kind of mixed, so it's good for the VCs and for the units, but I kind of like the unit ones a little bit more. So I kind of try to do these because they're a good way to build up star medals. Because you're getting 10 URs, each one of them is going to give you the 20 star medals. So 10 times 20 is going to be 200. So if you think about that, 200, it takes 300 to buy enough shards to get you to the point where they cost 10. So the first 20 costs 20. The second 20 is 2 per, so it costs 40, and then 60 and then 80, and then 100. If you do all that, that's 300. So one pull on here gets you 200 of those. So basically, it gets you most of the way there. And then, so that's going to be, you're going to be saving 80 shards. So 80 shards is actually saving you 4,000 paid viz, or 4,000 free viz. And then also you got to think of it this way too. When you're pulling these 10 URs, you're also getting those URs, and if any of them are maxed, you're getting Mog medals out of that, so you can potentially invest more into that. And so the other one to look at, I think it's probably a little bit more valuable in terms of how many shards it's getting you, is the 100 unit shard pull times 10. So if you pull dupes basically, or you know, units that are in EX job levels, you're getting basically 100 Mog medals. So times that by 10, and you have a potential maximum of 1,000 Mog medals. And so every step of buying Mog medals, so when they cost 5 per Mindsphere, you're essentially able to save a ton of viz every time you do one of those steps. So the first step is you're basically spending 250 Mog medals for 50 shards, Mindspheres / shards. And so every time that you're doing that, every time you do those 50, you're saving yourself 5,000 viz. So doing one of these, and the maximum potential of one of these being 1,000, you're able to get at least 150 of the unit's Mindsphere. So that's actually saving you, you know, 150 shards, which translates to about 15,000 viz. So if you're pulling on this banner, it's potentially worth that much. So even though you're spending paid viz, you're essentially converting that to like 15,000 paid viz or free viz. So that's gonna save you like that much more viz in building your units. And then you're gonna be able to use that saved viz to sort of pull on the next banner that you're gonna want. So that's essentially how I've been able to pull on, I haven't pulled on every single banner, but that's how I've been able to pull on a lot of those banners while still not really spending, without really breaking the bank and spending a ton of money. So let me just kind of go into the special shop to give you a sense of what I've been buying. And every month is different, so I end up buying a different amount of stuff. So let me scroll all the way to the bottom. Okay, this takes a while. The first couple of things are just like, the JP crystal and all that stuff. So collab starter pack. I ended up buying this just to get a lot of these materials that are pretty useful, and just to get paid viz as well. So that was like $8 and 490 paid viz, and a bunch of these materials and stuff, which are pretty useful. So I mostly do it for the paid viz so I can pull on those 10 times UR summons. But all these other goodies are good to have along the way because they help you build stuff up. I kind of did this recently, and I kind of regret it a little bit because I don't think it's that valuable. And like, again, my mindset isn't to rush all these units. But I think the most tempting part of this was the paid viz, so I think that's primarily why I did this. But the 100 shards is gonna help finish like all the Final Fantasy VII units, because that's going to convert into Mindspheres and sort of help build all those units up. And then these are always a good deal because it's $7 for basically 2,500 paid viz and an extra 1,000 free viz. This is like a super good deal, so I usually tend to do these. And again, these are useful for the 10 UR pulls. And I have another one of this that I did for the 1.5. And another one of these that I did for the 1.5. So 1.5 and the Final Fantasy VII were two different ones. And then I did this for Elena. Not really sure that this was worth that much in terms of value, but the paid viz is basically why I did that, and basically for a free pull on that banner, which technically saved me 2,000 free viz. And this was an older one, I guess, but that's basically another one that I did. Okay, so if you're looking at my Visual account right now, it's at 54,000. I know I'm kind of blocking it, but if it wasn't for that paid viz and me doing the ranked level bundles, I would be very close to 0 right now. I'd probably be under 1,000. So keep that in mind too. That actually helped me. That paid viz, that viz your back step up summon actually helped me a lot. I gained around 23,000 viz from it, and that was super beneficial to me. So I would be a lot closer to 0 right now if I, pulled on Elena without having done that paid viz your back banner. Okay, there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and that was in the mod shop. So bear with me a little bit here, guys. The Tomb Raider medals. So I still have a few left from pulling Lara Croft. So there is a really good video from a YouTuber called Suspect Amy. If you guys don't know her, definitely check out the video where she kind of goes over how to build up the Tifa card and the best way to do it. It's basically the same stuff that I kind of mentioned here, to use your star shards, to use the bingo board and all that stuff. But there's one thing she said that made a lot of sense to me, and I wouldn't have thought of it by myself, and that is when you have these tokens, it's better to invest them into the card, because there's no barracks for the card, and there is barracks for the unit, so you can finish out the card using these tokens first, and then, buy whatever you need for the unit. I'm kind of saving them because I'm very cautious, and I just kind of want to double check everything before I end up buying them. But definitely check out her video because I think it was super, super helpful. I'm going to try to link it if I remember to do that. Definitely. And then I do have some of that stuff left over, so I can spend them here. You know, I'll probably wait till the last week or whatever and then spend these. I think my thinking on this is if I want to use any more star medals, I have that option before I hit 99 and then to use these. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on in terms of that. So, okay, I want to end it there. Last time I made this video, it was like 45 minutes or something. So I've brought it down to about half, I guess. And that's kind of why I was talking a little bit fast. But hopefully I think I gave a lot more accurate information this time around as well. So hopefully that's been helpful. And I kind of just wanted to give a sense of how I'm building these units. I'm definitely trying to take my time with them. But also, you know, right now Final Fantasy VII is about to end. So I'm kind of looking at, okay, I might need to, you know, buy 40 more shards with regular free viz. And I want to do that before the event ends, just so I don't have to like go crazy, you know, trying to get everyone in the barracks and all that stuff. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to do a part 2 of this video, which is going to be basically me going through all my purchase history just to see how much money I've spent in this game in total. So that should be interesting for those guys, for those of you who are interested in that type of stuff. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that video.